guess what? I have entered the 20th year of my life and I have no idea where my life is going. I have spent 2 whole decades on this planet, but I don't know where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to be doing. And this video is going to talk about how to deal with all of those complicated feelings. I think the significant aspect of entering this age is that we suddenly feel this pressure to prove ourselves and to achieve success in a world that is only becoming more and more competitive and flashy. We see everyone's success stories right in front of our faces on our Instagram, on our socials, and it can feel quite overwhelming to consume all that information about other people because that raises the benchmark ever higher for what we think we should also achieve. And with that comes the good old fear of failure. I mean, I gotta admit, I myself have a pretty massive fear of failure, and that is what pushes me to work harder and harder and try to find new avenues to express myself and to achieve more because I'm afraid of being a failure and of not being good enough. But sometimes what happens is that all of these expectations and these pressures that we put on ourselves and that we think other people are putting on us, and that too at a stage when we don't really even know ourselves all that well, it can create this sort of mental fog and fatigue that can really impact our daily happiness and well-being. It is a feeling that actually strikes all of us at this age. I see the confusion and anxiety in my peers and in the people around me about what we are really supposed to make of our lives and how we can be our most successful and productive selves possible. And the race is real and incredibly tough to crack through, and I see this in myself and in other people, and I feel this overwhelmingly a lot, especially now that my college is coming to a close and everything feels a bit impossible. With every video I post that does not quite live up to the mark and to the standards that I have set up for it, the solidification of that disappointment and hopelessness just becomes more and more real. This especially happens the older we get and the more time passes without us really arriving where we want to get at. But of course, the question is, are we really ever meant to arrive at a final destination? Is there even such a destination out there? Because it is a simple fact, the more we achieve, the more we want, and it's like we can never really be satisfied. Is there really a way to find that kind of satiation? And where does the satiation even come from? Something happens when you turn 20. Those double digits seem to symbolize this separation between who you were and who you now have to step into the shoes of. Mainly not a kid anymore. And man, I don't know about you, but I am not ready to confront adulthood. It is like this massive chasm that I do not want to fall into. Taxes, bills, salaries, resumes, all of that stuff is scary AF. Especially after I got like 2 years of online college and now my college is ending and I'm just not ready to step out of these comforting walls and all of those people I have easy bonds with. Looking at these massive procedures you have to follow to get into masters, all those applications, all that logistical stuff, it is daunting. And it feels like it's all rushing toward you like a fast tide of the flow, and you can't really do anything about it. You just have to go with the flow. You have to do it. You have no choice. You have to find yourself a career. You have to go through the motion. And maybe you have dreams and desires to achieve greatness, but the fact that's gonna hit you at this stage is that very, very few people are actually lucky enough to make it and to achieve their highest dreams possible. Most of us just have to go through the everyday grind and make do with what we got, basically. Of course, opportunities for growth are also opening up every day in so many numbers because of the internet, but that can also paradoxically be daunting because people your age are getting scholarships or getting internships and getting into jobs, and that plethora of choice standing before you can itself be quite overwhelming. We envisage a certain pathway for ourselves, but life can often get in the way and we can find ourselves traversing unexpected lands. Wow, after saying that, I've realized, damn, I write flowery scripts, don't I? But anyway, as we stand at the helm of adulthood, we cannot possibly know how our future will pan out. The answer that you gave as a child when somebody asked what you wanted to be when you grow up doesn't necessarily have to line up with the answer that you actually get when you do grow up and you realize, what the fuck? What the fuck is all this? Learning to drive a car is hard, making money is hard, doing laundry is hard, and I don't want to do all these things, but you have to. You simply have to shoulder the burden of these responsibilities and fulfill them to the best of your abilities. Because along with all this responsibility comes freedom and liberation. You now are wholly and completely responsible for yourself. Who you hang out with, what you learn, what you choose to work on. You are free to mess up and only blame yourself. And there's something cool about that. About self-determination and only having to hold yourself accountable for who you are. No longer are you dependent on your family or your parents. You have to learn to take care of your own shit, and a lot of valuable growth comes out of that. And most of life is extremely mundane and filled with a lot of boring detail, but we must imagine Sisyphus happy. Anyway, let us just go outside in my beautiful garden for a chat. I leave Sisyphus at the foot of the mountain. One always finds one's burden again. But Sisyphus teaches the higher fidelity that negates the gods and raises rocks. He too concludes that all is well. This is a famous quote from Albert Camus' Absurdist Philosophy, The Myth of Sisyphus. And in case you don't know about Sisyphus, Google it. Yeah, anyway, getting back to the point. There are good things too. There are friends. Thank God for friends. There are nice dishes you can make and good songs you can obsess over and new books you can read. There's still going to be stuff that will dazzle you and will blow your mind away. It's really important to still retain that childlike fascination with things. God, more than 80% of the ocean is unmapped and unknown to us. There are so many species we have no idea about and we don't know if we ever will. Life is a wonderment in and of itself. Even if you aren't exactly where you want to be or you haven't done exactly everything that you want to do. Life really isn't about doing as much as it is about just being. There's something beautiful about being able to go through all these experiences, even if they're confusing and bewildering. Ultimately, these experiences don't amount to anything much. They don't have that much inherent value, but it's still wonderful. Being able to smell something wonderful or being able to see sunshine filtering through your curtain in the afternoon, being able to listen to someone talk their heart out. I think we definitely need to cultivate a deeper appreciation for the simpler everyday things instead of taking them for granted, because the wave of COVID that suddenly overtook the world and even only now it has somewhat gotten under control after like 2 whole years really shows that everything can change in any moment. I've been reading this book about Buddhism, and one of the basic tenets of Buddhism is about impermanence and how everything is constantly in flux. So just hold up. Something marvelous could come your way and make your life flourish, or everything could just sink in one moment. There is so much that is out of your controls. I think what is imperative is for us to focus on what we can control. Focus on the things that are directly going to nourish us and that are going to make our everyday reality better, instead of being caught up in all of these fantasies about a future that is so highly uncertain. What we need to do, I think, at this age is really to cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and to really take charge of how we define ourselves and how and where we derive our satisfaction and sense of self-worth from. Again, I think it's highly natural to have fantasies, having a huge mansion, all these many cars, all these many followers. God knows I have enough fantasies of my own, but I've realized that when I attach myself too deeply to these fantasies, I begin to feel like if these desires do not come true, there is nothing else in life at all, and that is where that massive fear of failure comes from. We should dream. We should absolutely let our imaginations run wild about what our future life possibly can look like, because when we dream, we manifest and we unconsciously direct our energies toward the things that will bring us closer to our goals. But at the same time, we have to be okay with where we are, and we have to be okay with the fundamental meaninglessness of life and with mediocrity, because otherwise we are defining success in a very narrow way that is going to act as a prison for us. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being stuck in that prison. There is meaning that we can create in our everyday reality that does not have to be tied to this extremely limited pathway where we get everything we want and where we're making an impact and having recognition and followers and fame and money. Success is not just that. Success can be whatever you want it to be. Success can be just having a nice chat with somebody. Success can be learning something new, a new language, a new skill. It can be growth that you see on a daily basis. The more we can just try to be in a state of flow and in a state of being really grounded in the things that are right there in front of us, the more happy and fulfilled we can be, and the higher chance we can have of finding and achieving our potential. And achieving our potential does not just have to depend on external factors that are absolutely out of our control. Achieving our potential can simply mean being the best version of ourselves given the resources and circumstances and the environment that we are put inside. If you struggle with being afraid of failure, I bet you struggle with feeling jealous as well. Watch this video next to figure out how you can overcome this extremely negative and overwhelming emotion which keeps you stuck in a cycle of comparing yourself to other people and not really being able to focus on what is and what will actually make you feel fulfilled. Also subscribe and like this video and share this with anybody who might be struggling with what I described in this video. I bet a lot of us are, and thanks for supporting me on this journey. Bye!